What is going on, guys? This is Tharshey and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be looking at a good side tier list for Season 7 of Lord of the Rings Rise to War. So if you guys do enjoy this video, then please do drop a like, comment and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so before we get into the video, I'm just going to be talking about the specifications or the things that I'm going to be looking at when I'm rating and ranking these commanders. So the first thing I'm going to be looking at is how good they are in PvP and PvE, with PvP being the biggest focus. The second thing is the equipment investment required, aka do they need really good gear to perform well, or can they perform even with just average gear? The third thing is the rarity of the commander. For example, a tier 1 commander is going to be a lot easier for everyone to obtain and to get to high respect levels than a tier 2 or a tier 3. I've played 7 seasons now, or I'm going to be playing my 7th season of Rise to War, and in those 7 seasons I've got a grand total of 1 tier 3 commander. So you're probably going to find tier 3 commanders ranked a bit lower than they otherwise would be on most other lists, just because I'm going to be taking into account how rare they are and how few of them most players have, unless you're a massive whale or spender, at which point you're opening hundreds of chests and pulling every single commander there is. But for the average player, I spend on season passes and I buy some of the deals in store, and I still only have 1 tier 3 commander. So I'm going to be looking at rarity, and that's going to play a big factor in where I rank them as well. Now that that's out the way, let's get into the video and let's start ranking these commanders. So first we have Aragorn, King of Men. So Aragorn, King of Men, well, I've seen some absolutely god tier King Aragorns, okay? I've seen Maestro's King Aragorn, and that King Aragorn's actually been featured on the channel like twice before and absolutely destroyed everyone I went up against, okay? But so I know King Aragorn can be really good in PvP. However, the thing is, he needs really good gear, so he has to have really good gear to perform well. Secondly, he is a tier 3, and thirdly, he needs high respect. If you don't have him at a very high respect level, you're just not going to have enough points to get all the skills maxed out that is required to make King Aragorn as good as he is. Because of that, we're going to put him in B tier. So he has massive potential. So if you have the right gear for him, if you have him unlocked obviously, and if you have enough respect levels on him, then he's going to perform really well. If you don't, however, or if you just have a R5 King Aragorn with purple gear, he's not gonna do that great, or he's just not gonna perform as well as he should. He's gonna go into B tier because of that. Next up we have Haldir. Haldir is just all around brilliant. He's a tier 1 commander, which means everyone is gonna have access to him. Well, I mean everyone should. Secondly, you're gonna be able to level up his respect really easily, and thirdly, he is just really good. So you can run him with all range, you can run him with other stuff, and you can, I've literally ran my Haldir with blue gear before and he performs well. I run him with purple gear, not even fully strengthened, but just ragtag stuff that I had left over, and he performed really well. He was beating fully geared out commanders, so, depends on the matchup. So Haldir is really good, he can perform well. In most situations. He doesn't need the best gear, though. If you give him really good ranged gear, he's obviously going to perform that much better. And he's a tier 1 commander, so he's really easy to get and to level up respect on. We're going to make him A+, and he's also one of my favorites. Next we have, who is this? Elrohir, I think? Guys, if I'm messing up some of these commander names, please just let me know down in the comment section that, that second commander or third commander you spoke about, you completely distorted his name. That is not who he is. So anyway, I think this is Elrohir. Anyway, he's gonna go to, people may hate me for this, but I think I'm gonna give him a C tier position. I've seen 1 or 2, but I mean, he's not used that much. I don't really go up against him that much, and when I have gone up against him, I beat him pretty easily. So I mean, maybe he wasn't the best build, but I'm gonna give Elrohir a C tier. Also, guys, one thing that I forgot to mention in the earlier disclaimer is I'm also considering how often you see these commanders on the battlefield. So even if they're a tier 1 commander, which means that everyone may have them at high respect levels, all of that stuff, if you don't ever see them on the battlefield, I'm not going to be ranking them that high, okay? I'm also taking into account how often these commanders are actually used. So a commander like Gandalf the Grey is going to rank higher even if he's not the greatest in PvP, just because basically everyone you come across uses him. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna put this boy at C. Now we have Dwalin. Dwalin is going to S tier. I mean, he's tier 1, everybody has him. You can respect him up super easily. Like, I don't even use him, I don't focus on him, and I still have him at like respect level 8 or 9, I think. So if someone is actually using him and focused on him since season 1, you should have him like respect level 10, 15 at least by now. So Dwalin is going to go up to S tier. He's a god in combat. Like in PvP, he's going to do absolutely great. He's a damage commander. He has amazing damage. If he goes up against evil, he has his R5 ability, which reduces his fire damage taken, so those alchemists won't be as pesky. And if you want to send him up against PvE, he has these heal abilities. You can switch around his build, and he's gonna do great as well there to farm bosses. So he's very versatile, tier 1, really easy to equip, and he's gonna go into S tier. Next, we're gonna have Radagast the Brown, and I've seen, I think, like one decent Radagast in PvP, and that's literally it. He's also a tier 3 commander, so not many people are going to have him. If you do have him, you may not even have him at R5, so he is going to go to D tier. I mean, a commander like King Aragorn, who I know can be great in PvP, you know, provided you outfit him with like god tier gear and you have him at super high respect. He, you know, if we were talking about that, he would probably be up in A+ tier, but because he's a tier 3 and you need that gear investment and that respect investment, he's only at B. So Radagast is not going to be placing much higher. Imrahil, I mean, I think I'll give Imrahil a C tier. Yeah, I'm going to give Imrahil C tier because I've seen him used once or twice. I mean, to be fair, they were kind of really bad Imrahils, but I have seen one good Imrahil who actually had a good build, you know, had good stuff, and he did pretty great. So I'm going to give him C tier there. He's not used very often, but he is a tier 2 commander, but he can perform okay if used correctly, so C tier for him. Next we have Isildur. Isildur, this is a tough one. I mean, Isildur is really good. Like, he absolutely destroys anybody he goes up against, unless they have madness immunity. If they have madness immunity, it pretty much renders Isildur useless, and you know, at that point you just kind of walk through him. Like my Eowyn with an anti-madness helm just destroys him. So yeah, but besides anti-madness, Isildur does great in PvP. Like the rest of my fellowship that fought him without madness immunity got absolutely annihilated. In terms of gear and well, in terms of gear and respect, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Isildurs we fought were only like respect level 5 or 6, so it wasn't like super high level respect. And gear, I think they were full purple, which is pretty standard-ish. So yeah, I'm gonna give him an A tier because he can perform really well so long as he, you know, isn't running into commanders with madness immunity on them. So next up we have Gimli. Gimli's S tier. I mean, I'm sorry guys, even if he like, Gimli is by far my favorite commander, okay? If I have a problem, I apply Gimli and I keep doing that until the problem goes away. Gimli is just amazing. He's got superb damage. He's a tier 2, so slightly harder to obtain obviously, but I mean, I got him really easily, and then I've like literally everyone I come across in my fellowship, he has him, but sometimes they don't use him. But Gimli is really easy to do great with, okay? He's a damage commander, he has amazing damage. Gear wise, obviously, if you equip him with great gear, he's going to do that much better. But even if you don't equip him with the greatest gear and you give him even all blue, like I was running a blue chest plate on him for 6 seasons and everybody was always like, why aren't you upgrading? I was like, it's doing fine. So yeah, even if you don't run the greatest gear on him or have him at a super high respect level, he's still going to do great. Respect level 5, decent gear, like at least purple stuff, or even if you have to throw in a blue piece of gear, he's still going to do great. Gimli is absolutely amazing. I love him. He's my favorite commander probably, so S tier for him. I'm also kind of biased, so yeah. Next we have Merry and Pippin. I mean, I honestly don't know what you want to do with them. They're going to F tier. They can't do anything. I mean, maybe if you run them with Ents, but I mean, who runs Ents? Because by the time you set that army arrives anywhere, the opponents will be long gone because they're so slow. So yeah. I'm sorry, Merry and Pippin, you guys are in F tier. Now we have Ori. Ori is going to go to... Okay, if I put him in D tier, some people in the chat are going to kill me. Like, they're literally going to murder me. So we're going to put him at the beginning of C tier because Ori can do decent in PvP, or if you absolutely invest in him, like unique, gold gear, massively high respect level, then he can become really, really great in PvP. But if you just have him at a normal respect level, you know, and you give him purple gear and stuff, he's not going to perform that great. He's going to do alright, just not that great. However, he does do good in PvE, so you can use him for, you know, farming bosses and stuff like that. So he is going to go to C tier. Now we have the Undead King, King of Ghosts, whatever the heck you want to call him. I don't ever remember his name. So King of the Undead, yeah. C tier for him. I mean, no, actually, I think now he has to go to B tier, even though he's a tier 3, so hard to obtain and stuff, and you're kind of limited to using like Oathbreakers on him. But if you have him, you know, you have him at R5 at least, you give him some decent gear and you put Oathbreakers on him, he's going to do really great since he's only really vulnerable to focus damage at that point. Running into physical damage, he's going to do really great, do a lot of damage. He's going to deserve a B tier placement. Now we have Treebeard. I don't know what to do with him. Like, I mean, does he deserve F tier though? I mean, I don't. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna leave him in F tier. You guys let me know what do you guys think about Treebeard, because Treebeard, he's a tier 3 commander. Wait, is he? Or is he a tier 2? Huh. I don't actually remember. I need to check up. But he's a commander that I don't actually see being used in PvP. The one time I went up against it with Gimli, Gimli destroyed him. But then again, that is Gimli, so. Treebeard, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give him an F tier. You guys let me know, because I don't really know where to place him. I mean, he would either be D or F here, so. Felgen. Felgen is a interesting commander. He's a dwarvish commander, of course, and I've seen his skills. I have him unlocked. I don't use him because I think I only have him at like respect level 2 or something, but Felgen has great skills. Given like decent gear, like purple gear or something like Gimli, he will perform really well, but I don't see him used that much. So okay, if I was rating him just based on, you know, how strong he was in PvP, I think I'd give him an A or an A+, one of those two. But I don't see him used very often. Like, he's just not used that much. He's a good commander. He has a lot of potential, but he's not used very often. His gear requirements are not that bad, so that's fine. I kind of want to put him in B tier, but I feel like it's just easier to. I mean, I see more King Aragorns than I do Felgens, to be honest. But then King Aragorn is just a much bigger. I'm gonna leave him as a tentative A for now. I may change that. I'm not sure. Aragorn is actually pretty decent. Like, yeah, I've actually seen Aragorn be in PvP. He's not used that often, but he actually does pretty decent when used correctly. I'm not sure if he deserves to go ahead of. Yeah, I'm not going to put him. I'm going to leave Hari ahead of him because Ari is also good in PvE. I've never actually used Aragorn in PvE or seen him being used by anybody in PvE really. So he's going to be C tier for now. He can perform well in PvP, and he's a tier 1, so he's easy to obtain and respect up. Next, we're going to have Gil-galad. Gil-galad is S tier. I know he's a tier 3 commander, so he's very hard to obtain being a tier 3 commander, but once you have him, if you have him at respect level 5, that's good. You don't need to really have him at a massively high respect. If you do, it's better, obviously, but just having him at respect level 5, he's going to do great. You can give him purple gear, like I've seen a couple guys in my fellowship who use him. Some have had kind of wonky results, but the others have much better results, and with just purple gear sitting there with his evasion for the first 2 rounds, he's going to do great. So Gil-galad, everybody that has him pretty much uses him, and he's a kind of meta commander. Even though he's a tier 3, he's going to rank in S tier. But I'm not going to rank him above Dwalin or Gimli, because that's a tier 1 and a tier 2 commander that just have so much more to offer, especially Dwalin with his, you know, capabilities against evil as well. Gimli just well, he's my favorite. He deserves that S tier spot. Now we have Thorin Oakenshield. So Thorin Oakenshield, the king under the mountain. This man is going to go to B tier because he's a tier 3 commander, hard to obtain. I don't see him used very often, but I do see him used, and he does really good in PvP. Like he's very good in PvP. He does really great, and he honestly deserves an A+ tier placement. But or even an A tier placement. The only reason he's not up there in A+ or A tier simply because he's a tier 3, which means very hard to obtain. Respect level, you don't have to have him that high, and gear investment is not too bad, but he's just not used very often. Like, actually, you know what? We're gonna give him an A tier placement. And A tier, but A tier nonetheless. He deserves that at the very least. Now we have Gandalf the Grey. Gandalf the Grey. I don't like Gandalf. I don't use him at all. He's like one of the best PvE commanders there is when you're starting out. Like, everybody uses Gandalf the Grey for starting out a new season. And yeah, he's not the greatest in PvP, but he's good still. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, he's used by literally the entire player population of good side. He's gonna get in first place A+ tier for now. Now we have Eladin. Eladin, I mean, I don't actually see him used. Like, him and his brother, I mean, yikes. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in my head because I see him used more than Elra here, but Eladin not really used that much. I haven't actually seen him perform that great. I'm gonna give him a C tier. Galadriel, I'm gonna give her an S tier. I think I see more Galadriels, especially in Tactics Evolved. In the Tactics Evolved campaign, I see more Galadriels even than I see Gil-galad. Like, it's just Galadriel's Tower Gods 24/7. So I'm gonna give Galadriel S tier. She's a tier 3, yeah, but you can use her pretty well in PvE. Like, I started out a season with her in PvE. She does okay, not too many troop losses. And she's good in PvP. She does focus damage, so she ignores armor. And yeah, just she's used a ton. Like, she's probably one of the most used T3 commanders that I see. Next we have Legolas. Legolas is good. Like, he's a good damage commander, especially in the early seasons, but he kind of falls off at later seasons unless you have him at a higher respect level, and I think you need his unique. I'm not really sure because I don't actually use him, but we're gonna give him first place B tier because he's a good damage commander. He's just, yeah, he just doesn't perform that great in the later seasons unless you have him, you know, invested in, but he is used quite often, so B tier it is for him. Eowyn, yeah, Eowyn goes to S tier. I mean, she's a tier 1 commander. She's an absolutely great cavalry commander. She does brilliant. I've used her for 6 seasons, going into my 7th season now, and she has never let me down. She obviously gets beaten by certain commanders, but she's a tier 1 commander. You can have her at a super high respect level. She does really great in combat, and yeah, she's an S tier commander. I see her used all the time, especially by Rohan players, but even out of Rohan, you still see her used quite a lot. Next we have Círdan. So Círdan is basically the Celeborn of Linden, but even when I fought Linden, I didn't see him used that often, and he's a tier 3, I think. Or is he a tier 2? I can open my game right now and check, but yeah, Círdan, I mean, you don't see him used that often. His R5 ability is dependent on Linden T4, then all the long shots. So we're gonna make him, and even when I have seen him used, I mean, he performed okay, but do I put in my head? Yeah, I'm gonna make him C tier. This is probably kinda controversial, but yeah. Next up we have Éomer. Éomer is A+. So I'm gonna put him after Haldir because Éomer is a great cav commander. You can run him as a damage commander, or you could run him as an army commander. Though it's probably best to run him as a damage, maybe with a little bit into army. It's up to you. In terms of equipment investment, you can give him the same type of stuff you'd give your Éowyn or your Theoden. Like, your equipment is interchangeable between the 3, and you don't have to have him at a really high respect level. Obviously, if you do, that's great to have those extra respect points, but with just a decent equipment, you know, R5, he's gonna do pretty great, and he's not used as often as Theoden and Éowyn, but he's still used pretty often, and he's gonna get an A+ tier placement. Now we have Denethor. Denethor goes to end of F tier. Like, he's even worse than Merry and Pippin. Like, goddamn, he's going there. Next we have Frodo and Sam. Now, Frodo and Sam are not used the most. They're a tier 2 commander, and you need them at R5 to perform. But once you have them at R5, you can, even without any gear, they will still do great, well, in the role that you use them. So the way you use Frodo and Sam is 3 commands of 3 different unit types, 1 command of each, and you max out his R5s, and you basically just try to use him as an RNG commander to inflict madness on the enemy and get the enemy to nuke themselves. I'm gonna make him an A commander, not an A+. Yeah, because he is, yeah. I mean, I'm putting him ahead of, oh, actually, you know what? He's gonna go A+. He's gonna go A+. I mean, I know this is kind of controversial because you can't use him really in PV. Like, you're not gonna go max him out to 50 and then put a full army on him. You're not gonna do that with him. You're just going to go give him 1 command of 3 unit types, you know, and then you're gonna try and hit a enemy commander and inflict madness and get them to nuke themselves, and that's Frodo's entire thing. But it's the cost vs payout is so good if it, you know, if the RNG hits, like it's really good. You can go and hit a Galadriel or a Dwalin or Gimli or anybody, like you can go send him against any commander, and if that RNG hits, you're going to get really good payout for losing 3 commands of units. So he's going to go to an A+ tier. Next we have Aragorn 2. So Aragorn 2 does really good. Kind of need him at a slightly higher respect level to perform better. I mean, every commander, obviously. Gear-wise, you can, you know, average gear investment is fine. He's a tier 2, but he's not going to go to A+. I'm going to give him A tier. And I don't, yeah, because he's a tier 2, I'm going to put him ahead. And I see him used a lot more. I'm going to put him at the beginning of A tier. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, these spots here, like this A tier, all of these can literally be changed. Like, the order here is not that important. Now we have Gandalf the White. Gandalf the White is going to go, yeah, he's going to go B tier after Aragorn 2, well, after Aragorn King of Men. He can do really well with, like, I've seen him with Cav and his R5, and he does really great. But he's a T3. You don't see him as that often. Like, you're gonna run into way more Galadriels and Gil-galads, or even Aragorn King of Men's, than you're gonna see Gandalf the White. But he can do great in PvP if you have the investment and the gear for him. So he's gonna go to B tier. Now we have Faramir. I mean, Faramir is gonna go to C tier. Like, I've seen him do pretty great in PvP, but those were pretty, you know, those were a high investment in terms of gear and respect that did that good. An average Faramir, I mean, he's still gonna do okay in PvP depending who he goes up against, but he's not that great. You don't see him used that much. But he is a tier 1, so, you know, whatever. We're gonna put him in C tier, just ahead of Arya, but before Sirdan. Now we have Theoden, Theoden King. Theoden King is going to go to S tier, and we're gonna put him, yeah, we're gonna put him, we should literally everybody runs Theodens. You just see Theodens coming in left, right, and center, especially in Tactics Evolved. You're gonna see Theoden and Dispersion Bone Knights all the time. They're gonna just sit there and nuke armies left, right, and center. So Theoden, absolutely good commander. Like, everybody uses him. He's a tier 2 commander, same gear as Eomer or Eowyn. R5 minimum, and he'll do great. Higher than that, good for you. So yeah, he's gonna be S tier. I'm just not sure if we should put him ahead of Dwalin and Eowyn or not. I mean, I have him and I just don't use him, but I use Eowyn over him. These 3 spots here are interchangeable, so whatever. We're gonna leave Theoden over there. Next we have Thranduil. So Thranduil is gonna go end of D tier. He can do good in PvP, but he's a tier 3. You don't see him used that often. So yeah, we're gonna leave him in B tier over there. Boromir next. So Boromir is obviously the correct brother, you know, for Denethor anyway. And he's gonna go, I mean, do we put him in B or C? I don't know. B or C tier, guys. B or C tier. Because I've seen him used in PvP more than Faramir. And with decent investment, he can do pretty good, especially with these unique at R10. He does really well. We're gonna give him B tier. He's a tier 1, so he's much easier to level up respect on. And we're gonna put him before Thranduil. Now we have Elrond. Elrond, I'm going to put before Boromir. So he's a T3. Obviously, I don't see him that often, but I've seen him do really good. Like, I've seen Elrond at R5 with purple gear do really good. If you give him better stuff, obviously he can do better, but I mean, Elrond, I see Elrond and Thranduil about the same amount of times, and I normally do a lot, but like, I've gone up against both, and I tend to destroy Thranduil. Elrond, he actually surprised me, and he did really well once. So yeah, Arwen, we're gonna give her... Ooh, this is a tough one. We're gonna give Arwen A+ tier. Arwen is really good in PvE. You can use her to farm bosses, farm tiles at the start of the season, and you can make her absolutely god tier in PvP as well. Like, I've seen Arwen's absolutely destroy commanders, okay? Arwen is gonna go to A+ tier. Next we have Balin. Balin is a really strong Dwarvish commander. I honestly don't see him used that much though. Like, I swear all the other Dwarvish commanders are used a lot more than Balin. But Balin with decent gear, like the same gear you would give your Dwalin or your Gimli, and you know, at respect level 5, and Balin is going to do pretty good. So we're going to put him end A tier, just because I don't see him used that much. I mean, I kind of want to put him ahead of Thorin, but I'll leave that there. Next we have Dane. Dane's going to go to A+ tier. So Dane is really good in PvP. The times I run into Dane with Gimli, Dane always comes out on top. Against Eowyn, he also comes up on top, but he is a tier 3, and he's not used as often as those commanders you see in the S tier rank. So he's going to go to A+ tier. I'm not really sure about the orders of this. You know, I'm going to put Frodo and Sam in A+ tier, just because of the situational use they have. I'm going to put Arwen ahead of Eomer, because I see her used a lot more. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. Celeborn, he's a tough cookie because Celeborn requires his R5, and his R5 requires playing Lothlorien and March Wardens, which is the Lothlorien T4. If you're playing Lothlorien, you have Celeborn at R5, he is going to do really, really good. If you have good range gear on him, he's going to do even better. But if you are not in Lothlorien, aka you don't have March Wardens, you can no longer use his R5. It's just a waste now. And without his R5, he's still good because he has that built-in madness immunity and stuff, but he's just not as good as he otherwise would be. But when you're in Lothlorien, like if this was just considering his usage in Lothlorien and stuff, and how good he is at R5 in Lothlorien, I would give him A+ tier probably. Maybe even S tier, because most Lot players who have him will use him. I mean, doesn't make sense not to. But considering that you know, he's dependent on a faction, we're gonna put him in B. No, he can't be B. He's too good for B. We're gonna put him A tier, because so long as he's in Lothlorien, he's great. Without Lothlorien, though, he's not as good, and I would pick Haldir over Celeborn if you're not in Loth. Anyway, this is going to be my final tier list for Season 7 of Lord of the Rings for Rise to War. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I know the way I'm ranking them is probably a bit wonky for you guys, and it's probably not what you expect. Like, why am I ranking them according to, you know, what tier they are? Because, you know, or why am I ranking them according to how often I see them used? It's just stuff that I wanted to include in this video. So I do hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys have, you know, any suggestions, or if you guys want to discuss, you know, the tier ranking that I've gone with here, or how you would rank them instead, maybe you would push someone up, push someone down, you know, switch somebody around, let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.